Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And Boo Radley said that he wanted to be in the video today because he said, you're gonna talk about books and dogs. Those are two of my favorite things. Of course they are. So he said, can I be in the video, Dad? And I said, of course you can. So today I'm going to do the National Book Lover Day tag, and Jackie tagged me in this. Thank you, Jackie, that really means a lot to me. If you tag me in a video, tweet it to me so that I can see that I'm tagged, because a lot of times I don't know that I'm tagged. I love doing tag videos, and I haven't done a tag video in quite some time. So let's get right into this, okay? It says today's National Book Lovers Day. I guess this was yesterday. So I decided to do the National Book Lover Day tag. The original tag was created by Little Miss Writer, and she links it, and I'm going to link Jackie's video. So let's get right into this. Number one, Boo Radley's back there and he's like digging. He's trying to find his hole to sleep in for the night. Do you have book lover friends, or are you the token book lover? Okay, so my best friend, Tanya, who I talk a lot in all of my videos, she's my good Judy, she and I both love to read. And she reads a book like every day, every 2 days, something like that. We read completely different stuff. She reads exclusively on the Kindle. I love, you know, paper books. I like, what am I looking for? Traditional books. Is that the word I'm looking for? Why can't I think of it? Anyway, but we both read. We read very different things, except for like suspense and thrillers, we both read. And so a lot of times we'll find that we have read the same books, or she'll recommend a book to me. I can remember last year I recommended to her like the Girl on the Train, that was 2 years ago, The Girl on the Train, The Girl in the Red Coat. We read a lot of those kind of similar things. We are also both sober, so we read a lot of sober memoirs, and like Blackout, Remembering the Things I Drank to Forget. That was fantastic. So we read similar things, but she reads a lot of like romance kind of stuff. And we were driving around the other day, and she's like, I miss Jackie Collins. She's like, Jackie Collins was such a great writer. But we read kind of different things. I read more, you know, young adult, thriller kind of stuff. I mean, not together, I wish. Truly Devious, that was a great young adult thriller. Hi, Boo Radley. But other than that, you know, like she doesn't read any young adult. I read some series, but not a lot. She doesn't read any series whatsoever. So we read very different stuff. So I wouldn't say that I'm the token book lover. Now, with the rest of my friends, absolutely. Like, none of the rest of my friends read whatsoever. Okay, number two, what is a book you think doesn't get enough love? Well, a book that I think doesn't get enough love, and I actually have 3 of them on here. Oh, shoot. A book that I think that doesn't get enough love. Wait, what do you think is the book that everyone should read? A book that I think doesn't get, okay, I have like 2 different answers. A book that I don't think gets enough love is Lily and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. It's fantastic. It's about this dog that has a brain tumor, but his owner won't acknowledge that it's a brain tumor, so he just looks at it and says it's like an octopus on his head. It's very, very, very endearing, and I don't know, I love this book so much, and I was kind of resistant to reading it because I've read a lot of other books that have to do with dogs, and if you watch my videos regularly, you know that my little chihuahua, Pee-Pee, has heart disease, so to read about a dog that is sick was really hard for me, but I love anything that shows endearing dog stories. I love dogs, I love animals, and so yeah. So I think this book doesn't get enough recognition. Lily and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. It's fantastic. And there were parts of it that I didn't love, but overall, the book was just really, really good. All right, the next question is, what book do you think everyone should read? Okay, so this is interesting. I have 2 answers to this. The first one is kind of just like, I think everybody should read it because everybody thinks they know the story, and that is Jaws by Peter Benchley. And it was interesting. I was last night watching, before we get into this, let me just say, my biggest fear in life is sharks, okay? I'm terrified of being eaten alive by a great white shark. Like, that's my biggest fear ever. And that being said, I love Shark Week. I love Jaws movies. I want to see Meg. I love anything to do with sharks. So my biggest fear is also one of my greatest interests. And I've seen the movies like hundreds of times, literally hundreds of times. And I had I recorded or whatever, DVR'd this show on TV, and it was like Jaws behind the scenes, and it was showing like how the movie got made and all this kind of stuff. It was so interesting. And they talked about Peter Benchley in there, and that Peter Benchley was kind of out of ideas for what to write. And so he was sitting on the beach one day and he was looking out, and he said to himself, you know, well, what if I made this, I wrote this book about this shark that kind of like harasses this town. The documentary was interesting because it had his wife on there. I think he's since passed away. But it had his wife on there, and she was like, I remember when he told me about the idea, and I was like, Peter, I think you need to think of a different idea, which ended up being one of the greatest, movies of our time. It started with this book. The reason that I think that everybody should read this book, if you've seen the movie, okay, is that the book is not the movie. And we talk a lot about, like, what is better, the book or the movie. Well, I don't know that I think one is better than the other, but the book is a much different story than the movie. There's this whole back story to kind of, like, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. There's this whole backstory to why the mayor doesn't want the beaches closed. It's very interesting. It has a lot to do with kind of bigger business. There's also this whole romance that occurs in the book that you don't ever see in the movie. And it's, I would say it's a darker book than the movie. Like, the movie is just, it's a blockbuster film. The book is kind of, like, it gets kind of sad at points, but, like, you really, and I will tell you this, the shark parts in this are, like, scarier than the movie, and I don't even know how that's possible, but it is. So, anyway, I think everybody should read Jaws. The other book that I think everybody should read at least once in their life, and I don't care who you are, I don't care if you have cats, dogs, ferrets, fish, what, okay? I think everybody should read The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. This book was given to me by my mother-in-law, so she even wrote it in here, June 2011, for my birthday. And I had so many people that told me that I should read this book. They're like, you love dogs, you've got to read this book. And I was, like, kind of resistant to it. I don't know why. I just was like, my mom, back in the day, she loved, like, what was his name? James Herriot, that wrote, like, dog stories and stuff. And I just didn't really love that kind of book, if that makes sense. I love stories like Lily and the Octopus that have to do with somebody's own personal account or fictionalized or whatever. I didn't know much about this book. And, like, 2 years ago, I got the Audible version of it and I listened. The Audible version is fantastic. This is about a book, or this book is about a dog, and it's all told from his point of view. And it starts off at the end of his life, and he knows that we're down to the wire, and, like, his master's got to make some decisions for him, and his life is kind of standing in the way of his master being able to go forward with his life and do some things. And so he goes back, and I'm going to start crying just even thinking about it. He goes back and he reflects upon his entire life when the day that he, like, his master got him, and their relationship together and all that. I mean, it is heart-wrenching, hilarious. It is ugly cry central. I'm just going to tell you right now. The book, which when I got towards the end of it, I thought, how are they ever going to end this book with any kind of, like, hope that's not totally tragic? The ending is so fantastic. It is so fantastic. And I think that everybody should read this book, and I'm going to tell you why. This is just a personal opinion. I have issues with people that don't like animals. I have issues with people that, don't have a kindness towards animals. And I'm not talking about lions and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about dogs and cats and things like that, I think you can tell the true soul of a person by how they treat animals. And, if you read this book and it has no emotional effect on you whatsoever, you might want to check yourself a little bit. It is, even if you've never had animals in your life, it is such a fantastic story. And I'm kind of joking when I say that a little bit, but I do feel like that. When I meet people and they're like, oh, I don't like animals at all, I'm like, what? Like, especially just sweet little animals like Boo Radley. Anyway, I think everybody should read this. Okay, next question. Do you like standalone novels or series more? Standalones. I have such a hard time getting into series, although I am reading every month, although I missed July, so I'm catching up in August and doing 2 of them. I'm reading all of the Harry Potter books, and I'm about halfway through the Audible right now. I read it last year. I've only ever read the first one, and I really read it, and I was like, I don't really understand why everybody's so down with these books, okay? And I'm more of an audio learner. Like, if I hear it and learn it, like, I learn it quicker. Like, if I'm watching, or if I'm listening to, like, an album, whatever. Back in the day, listen, I knew every word to Janet Jackson's Control album. So anyway, like, I learn and I kind of, like, retain it more. I am listening to the Harry Potter book right now, and I am, like, blown, the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, or whatever. I am blown away. Like, I love it. Like, I am so into it. I cannot wait to get in my car and listen to it. And the narration is absolutely fantastic. And everybody asks me, I'm afraid to do this because I'm afraid I'll go out of it, but everybody asks me what the narration is, the one that I'm listening to. So let me pull it up really quick and I will tell you. The one I am listening to, it just looks like this on it. But I love it. And it is so good, you guys. It is so, so, so good. So I don't love series. I like standalones more because I feel like it's complete. Now, if part of a series could be a standalone, I'm okay with that. All right. Let's see. What books did you love as a child? Now, this is so funny because I almost kind of wonder if I wasn't supposed to make this video today because we're getting ready to go over to my in-laws' house here in a little bit. And I have 2 nephews. Carlitos is 5. He's going to be 6 in December. And Sebastian, who is my godchild, or my godson, he is going to be 3 in January. And I keep on telling my sister-in-law, Liliana, I'm like, I need to bring over some of my favorite books because I'm not going to use them. I'm not having kids, so I want them to have them. And I really believe that, this is kind of a stretch, you know, if we grow up under certain kind of stories and certain kind of books, I think that really molds people. And the reason I was thinking that was because one of my favorite books growing up as a kid was Corduroy. And if you don't know what this book is about, it's about a little girl that she goes in the store and she wants corduroy, but he has a missing button. And it's really about finding a home, and it's so sweet, you guys. I love this book so much. And so I'm passing this on to my nephew because I want them to have the same story. And they love books too. And then when I was little, and I actually have these in like the little small books. Little Bear by Elsie Holmelund Minarik. Pictures by Maurice Sendak, who I think most of us know from Where the Wild Things Are. I loved this book. And it talks in here about... well, is this the one, or is it the little book? I have the little books too that say like, oh, here it is, birthday soup. And that's like chicken rice and all this kind of, everything is nice with chicken and rice. Now look at this book, okay? It even has my mom wrote my name on it. It's called Come Over to My House. Look how, like, I mean, I said, hello, I'm gonna draw the path where I'm going. This book is so messed up, and it shows all different kinds of cultures and what different like houses look like in different places. And I remember just poring over this back in the day. I used to play this game. Well, I played it with the next 2 books too, so I'll explain that in a second. But it's you know, it's one of those little Cat in the Hat books. And then these are the 2 that I definitely am giving to my nephews because I think these will be really good for them. They are both learning Spanglish. Well, but Spanish and English at the same time because their parents speak both languages. And so they're learning both. Richard Scarry's Hop Aboard, Here We Go. And if you've never seen these Richard Scarry books, I used to love these back in the day. And they have like different kinds of cars and houses and all kinds of, like, this is the one I think it's all transportation. You can see it has like helicopters and explains what it is. Fantastic. So I'm going to give that to my nephews. And then this is the one that I think will help all of them in that household. And this is Richard Scarry's best word book ever, more than 100 objects. And I used to go through here, true story. Oh, my mom, she put it on here. Peter Monn, 3rd birthday, June 1975. Well, it's time to pass it on, Mom. So it has like all kinds of farm animals. And then it has boats and ships. I used to go through here and I'd be like, okay, you can pick one thing from this page. What would you pick? And then I'd say, I want to pick the overcoat. And I would pick the overcoat. And then that's what I would do. So that one. And then my favorite of all, my favorite children's book of life. I did a whole video reading this. So if you want to see me reading this, go check it out. Maybe I'll link it below. If I can remember, I'll link it below. And that is called The Lonely Doll. Story and photography by Dara Wright. And Teresa, okay, she copied all of these pictures and she made me, look at how beautiful these photographs are. She made me this huge picture of all of the pictures. I was blown away. So anyway, I love this book so much. I relate so much to The Lonely Doll. Let me just tell you. Once there was a little doll. Her name was Edith. She lived in a nice house and had everything she needed except someone to play with. She was very lonely. Every night when she said her prayers, she pleaded, please, please send me some prayers. I love her car crash bangs the most. Every morning when she ate breakfast all by herself, she sighed and wished for company. Every day when she fed the pigeons, she'd beg, please stay and talk to me. But the pigeons just ate and flew away. Sounds about like my life. Okay, let's get into the next one. Number 6, what book could you read 100 times? Okay, I want to tell you something. I used to think I could read The Catcher in the Rye 100 times. I used to think that I could read To Kill a Mockingbird 100 times. And then I listened to it by Sissy Spacek last year. And I think that was probably going to be the last time I ever read it in my life. I just don't know that I think I need to read it again. I'm not big on rereads anyway. But you guys know this is my favorite story or my favorite book and movie of life. But after having read it that last time, I kind of was like, I think it's time to close this chapter of my life a little bit and have some new favorites. So I would say that I'm currently looking for 2 new books or 1 new book to be a book that I could read over and over and over again. Because I stood there and I looked at my bookshelves and I was like, I don't really have a book right now that I could reread over and over and over, you know? I don't know. Maybe it'll be Harry Potter. Number 7, a book you love and don't currently own is Benjamin Eilier Signs, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I can't believe I don't own that. And number 8, who is your biggest book crush? And I used to say James Bond, and I love the Ian Fleming books of him. I just love James Bond. There's just something about him. But I will tell you, okay, that if I had a girl crush on anybody, I watched the documentary on Netflix, and I was like so just enthralled with her life and everything about her, and I just think she's so cool, and I think she just has such an important literary voice, as well as like an entire voice of a generation, and that is Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking. I mean, she's written many, many books, but here she is back here, always with a cigarette in her mouth, big sunglasses, and she'd always have to drink Cokes. Did you guys watch the documentary? If you have not seen the documentary about Joan Didion, it is fantastic, okay? And this one woman is so funny. She's like, every morning when Joan would wake up, she'd just be sitting there drinking her Coca-Cola, smoking a cigarette. But she's like genius, like absolutely genius. And I don't know, like, I kind of have like a celebrity crush on her. I think she's so cool, you know? Like, I just think she's the coolest thing. And she's not a young thing anymore, and it's interesting. If you watch the documentary, you see kind of like the progression of what she did over time, and it's fantastic. So I would have to say that Joan Didion is my biggest book crush right now. So anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I'm not going to tag anybody. If you want to do it, do it. Let me know that you did it so I can go watch your video. And I will, you know, of course, tag or put Jackie in the comment section below in her video so you can go check her out. Go subscribe to her. Why wouldn't you? That's how we build a community on BookTube, is subscribing to new people. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful beginning to your weekend, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.